We're back with episode 8 of the Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World, and this episode has a lot of backstory with Red, which I think is high time, but not enough to start off looking at the powers and how he got them, etc, etc. But it's more of a backstory for him, which I generally really liked, and it opens up a lot more. Doesn't kind of open up what sort of character he is, but at least you know a bit more about him, which is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's talk about it and I'll give my thoughts. When it starts opening, we find that Rania is talking about her past and the way that she is, how she's kind of developed. And I do think this is an interesting thing, but considering how in the previous episode we heard a bit about it, this kind of felt a little bit like you could have added that in at the very end so that we could have got an entire grasp of her character and how she goes from the sweet and innocent to how she becomes really like energetic. Rania asks about Red's childhood, what's happened, etc, etc, and we get this really in-depth story. Again, doesn't tell you about how he got the powers, which is something that I would have liked to have known, but yeah, basic backstory. So as the story begins, Red has lost his parents and his father's best friend steps in and says, hey, why don't you come and live with us and we will help you through this because you're going through a rough time. And that's the kind of first step. As the story starts progressing, Yidra is getting jealous because it looks like Red is getting close to Rania and she doesn't like it. Again, typical anime trope. But Red continues his story. So as he is introduced to the new family, they all say like, hey, I'm going to be your new brother. Hey, I'm going to be your sister. It's amazing. And Red doesn't really like this because he's just lost his main parents. And yet he doesn't also have like a grandma that would just swoop in and say, hey, we want to have you here. Like, you know, we're going to look after you. They plant this tree. Again, very nice the way they do it and say, as our family grows and our connections and our bonds, this tree will grow as well. And I literally love that sort of thing because it feels like it's a normal thing that you would do and generally just is a nice thing to welcome someone into the family. Now, this is where it gets a bit weird to the point where Red is saying that he got bullied, which, okay, that's not the weird part, but it's like he gets tied to a tree and then whipped. And I'm like, what sort of kids are doing that? He's also getting burnt at the stake. Again, what sort of kids are just doing that? Hey, we're going to bully you. We're going to tie you to a tree and then burn you. It's weird, like over exaggerating a lot. But when he gets questioned about this, he says, oh, the pen is getting away, which again is a way of saying breaking the fourth wall, which I don't like that sort of stuff. Like, I get it happens. I just really don't like it. The only reason why I don't like it is if it's not needed. If it's there at the very beginning or the character can do it, fine. But just adding this makes a bit Kamen Rider Saber did that and kind of ruined it for me with the whole book thing. Everyone's got a story and I absolutely hated it because it's all predestined and there's no kind of outcome like, oh, they're gonna die. No, they're not. It's the one thing that put me off Sentai and Kamen Rider for a little bit. But we get our first cameo. Now, this entire episode has a ton of cameos, so I'll go through each person and where they're from. Toshi Inio, I think I got his name wrong, I'm really sorry, but I'll show you a picture of him properly and his name will flash on screen. But this is our first cameo of the episode. Now, what I thought was funny is his brother sticks up for him, but then says, hey, I'm going to write in the paper what you did. And I was like, God damn, everyone's going to read it in the school and know it rather than just go around telling everyone. It felt like it's a very, this is a school thing that would happen. So it made me laugh and made me go, oh, okay. Then we get another thing where his brother is dressed up as Wagatomo Kagami. Again, I think that's pretty cool. It then moves into a thing of the brothers having inconveniences and stuff like that, where it's, little things that wouldn't necessarily mean fighting, but it does generally mean that, they would be annoyed with each other. So it's like eating food, going to the bathroom. It moves into high school. Red is competing in things, winning, learning piano. There's tons of little things that kind of lead up, but nothing major that I would say, yeah, this is definitely a fight happening. We have the general lead up to what happens. Monsters attack the school, makes everyone get really angry. Monster gets defeated. Everything goes back to normal. The next cameos are the two girls from Mega Ranger, which I didn't even notice at a point, but one of them has a morpher on the wrist, which I was like, holy shit, that's really cool. Seeing the digitizer actually on screen, generally thought that was absolutely awesome. And what's really cool is most of the actors or actresses actually reprised the role. All of Mega Ranger did, because the next scene that you see the boys from Mega Ranger, and they're talking to Red saying like, you should run for president of the school, which his brother overhears, and that kind of like stems them being like angry at each other, which I was like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird, but you know, you could at least talk to him about stuff rather than just kind of leave it. Like, just talk to him, like sort it out. Sort your shit out. Relationship Ender turns up and turns everyone against each other. They all start arguing. Red transforms, defeats the monster. After the day is done, his brother has been doing a piano recital and everyone is really happy, but Red comes in and he drops dead. He's just like, I'm so tired, because he's been fighting all along. And I generally thought that, you would have Red being looked after, but you just wouldn't have his brother get really pissed off. Like, he's hurt, he's tired. And the first thing that Red actually says when he wakes up is, hey, like, you know, we're meant to have a party for him. Like, you know, I wanted to be there. But his brother is just a massive prick. Is a massive prick towards him. He doesn't talk about absolutely anything the way he's feeling. He's just, oh, I'm going to walk off. And the tree also dies. So there's that. Now, we see a lot more cameos in this, like more Sentai and some Kamen Rider. Bond Killer turns up, which, spoilers, is his brother. All the cameos are, and I'll try and get them in order. We have Gino and Miho from Don Brothers, and that was kind of cool seeing them there. That took me by surprise. Jasmine and Umiko from Deca Ranger, General Kuma from Battle Fever J, and Toma from Lupin Ranger, who is Lupin Blue. Very cool to start seeing Sentai actors in this. I don't know if every single person had their roles reprised, so they were just doing voiceover. As Bond Killer turns up and uses his ability, they all start turning on each other. Now we get a ton more cameos, which is, again, here's the entire list. We get Seizu and Sasuke, the entire team of Jetman, the Changerin Trio, I said that name wrong. So from Kamen Rider, we have Shoichi and Ryo, Yoko Yasuda and Himaru Hirumu from Go Buster, said their names wrong, which is absolutely goddamn crazy because I didn't expect to see that whatsoever. And then we get a full team morph of all the Rangers together, which is weird because then, like, for some strange, bizarre reason, they're just outside the city, then they're kind of back in the city, so it's a little bit kind of weird. After the fight, Red sees his brother, who then transforms and shows that he is Bond Killer and tries to take down Red, tries to make him evil because one of the evil doctors just comes out of a portal. Huzzah on that one. And I think this is the start of seeing like Red becoming evil, so it's his evil dark suit, which would make sense. We saw it previously in this series. Then there is a massive fight. The bonds are too strong, so he's not going to turn evil. But then the brother goes inside a mech, or becomes a mech, I have no idea, and they fight. The Sixth Ranger drops the hand down in the Zord, which is like over 12,000 years old or something like that. And that's the perfect time for the massive beam to shoot from the chest of the Robo, defeating the brother. The brothers make up and they're like, hey, I'm really, really sorry. And then just at points which just made me laugh. When Red does something good with the family members, suddenly Bond Killer comes out and starts attacking, and I generally really loved it. And that's the end of the episode. We see that the characters get put into Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and thus therefore I think it's the animators not wanting to animate them all while fighting. So I feel like we're going to get an open-end fight with not many characters in there and just focus on Sphinx Relief and Red just absolutely fighting. But I generally really enjoyed this. This is a fantastic anime so far. It's making me want to watch all the way through, and that's what I love at the moment. It seems like it's a good thing to watch every week, and I will be catching up and making sure these videos come out on time, or within a set amount of time, rather than it being late or something like that. But I generally wanted to talk about it. What are your thoughts? Have you been watching? Did I get all the names right? And if I missed anyone, let me know down below in the comments, and let's discuss that. And while you're down there, hit like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 21,200 by the end of May, so that would be absolutely amazing if you could subscribe to the channel and help me do this crazy journey. But yes, thank you very much for listening and watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. I want to say a big thank you to all my Patreon supporters, and I wanted to shout out Kimono Cat. Your help goes a long way to help support the channel, and if you want to help support the channel, the links to my Patreon and channel memberships are listed below in the description.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。